Hey, somebody gave $10 and then put a quote in. Wow. This person does nothing but give. Go Thantone pronoun. Don't let your imagination be crushed by life as a whole. Stick with the situation at hand and ask, why is this unbearable? Why can't I enjoy it? You'll be embarrassed to answer. Isn't it amazing how on point Stoicism was? I can't get over that. I am amazed that everything that needed to be said in the self-help genre was said 2,000 years ago. You know, I was reading a book about Stoicism recently where they were talking about how much does this hold up now that we live in the age of the science, or pseudo-science, depending on who you ask, of psychology. And they were saying that Stoicism held up really well to psychological principles today. In fact, there was a period in the 50s where they thought, Stoicism's just not necessary anymore. We've figured out the way to get results psychologically, and that is electrocuting your balls until you are too scared to do the action. And then they did that until the 70s and thought, maybe there's some other ways. And ever since then, it seems like, no, the Stoics got it right. The Stoics got it right 2,000 years ago. Don't you think that that is an extremely valuable life lesson? In fact, this was one of the Indian gurus that, let's be honest, scammed Tony Robbins and made him go to one of those yogic retreats in India and was saying, here you will learn the meaning of life. And then he was saying, the meaning of life is for you to do my dishes so I don't have to pay for kitchen hand stuff. Namaste, my friend. And then he'd go in there being like, I can't believe that I have to do these dishes. And then he thought, hang on a second, this is the wrong attitude. And then he kind of became this voluntary team captain of, okay, guys, let's see how many dishes we can do in the next 5 minutes. The classic, I don't make a game out of it. And then that Indian guy knowingly nodded at him saying like, listen, you have learned the meaning of life. Now, clean out my toilet. But he did get the main point. The main point was, if you are able to make the points of your life that you don't enjoy somehow enjoyable, you've cheat-coded your entire life. Because think about really what is happening in self-help. A lot of what is happening in self-help is to reprogram you psychologically to do the things that you either thought was impossible, which every time there is always going to be some psychological block there. So this is why self-help is extremely important, because especially all those people saying, I don't need self-help. They would have a bunch of mental blocks in their life, I can guarantee you, of things that they should be doing. They're not doing them. And so they are stagnant. And it'll be simple things like, I want to change jobs. I want to move up in my career. I want to ask for a raise. But they will have a bunch of excuses that they've invented in their head that they don't even know are there, that they just subconsciously rattle off to themselves. A big part of self-help is constantly getting you to re-examine your thoughts and your preconceptions of how you are going through life and being like, why are you doing it this way? Don't you think that one of these big advantages of self-help is, did you know that you can pretty much train yourself to like anything? This is what Marcus Aurelius is getting at here. Let's just reread that quote one more time, because I think this is a very profound quote. Don't let your imagination be crushed by life as a whole. Stick with the situation at hand and ask, why is it unbearable? See, look at him saying that. This is sick. I feel like I'm a pastor. Don't let your imagination be crushed by life as a whole. What he just said is what it took me 2 minutes to say. Now, granted, I was saying it off the top of my head and he was writing a meditation book. But also, he's smarter than me. Okay, the point is, he's a better man than me in every way. And he has shortened what I was just talking about there. A lot of why you are not doing the things that you think that you should be doing in life is purely because you have imagined a reason for you to not do it. It's perfectly natural. I have 1,000 of them. I unblock them all the time because of my life coach. Before that, I think that I was in a stagnant point for 5 years of my life. But can you just think about that for a second? Me, huge subscriber to self-help, constantly reading self-help, constantly in the car listening to self-help. There are things in my life that I have had blocks on for 5 years. Another one was doing seminars last year. One that I'm doing right now, I'm like, yeah, I'll get onto it now. I haven't started. Why? Because I have more mental blocks of like, oh, but I should probably do this first. Why do I have those mental blocks? Well, as Marcus Aurelius is saying there now, you will be embarrassed by the answer if you just ask, why is this unbearable? Why can't I enjoy this? you will be shocked by the answer. So shocked that you'll be embarrassed, which is what his quote was. So maybe we'll just stick with his. When you start examining your life in that way, why do I find this unenjoyable? Why am I not doing this? And you write down the answers, because this is always part of it, right? Like, this is a big part of self-help, is the constant self-reflection. It's a lot better when you have a partner there. It's a lot better when you have like somebody as like a self-help buddy that you can sit there and you can bounce ideas off of each other and say, I want to be doing this. And it's like, well, why aren't you already doing it? And then you say, oh, well, I don't have $1 million, so I can't start a tech company. And it's like, yeah, well, no, you can't do that. But there is things that you can move along the way to get you to that point eventually. And so why aren't you doing those? You just keep moving down until you realize, oh, the reason I'm not doing anything is because I have this big idea in my head of, I can't get the final goal now. So none of these subsequent goals that would get me to the big goal, I can't do any of those either. That's usually the reasoning that is blocking you with anything. That's a brilliant quote. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for the $10.